Hey there, everybody. This is Afefe with Touch by Tarot. I am going to do a reading for us today to celebrate the last new moon in 2022. It is occurring on December 23rd, and it is occurring in, of course, the sign of Capricorn. There are, astrologically, there are like a million planets in Capricorn right now, you all. Like, you can pull the charts. There are many, there's all kinds of information out there, but I know it's the sun, the moon, Venus, Mercury, and I believe Neptune is also in the sign of Capricorn right now. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I don't have the chart pulled in front of me. But the point is, there is tremendous energy right now with this new moon, you all, and in general during Capricorn season, as we're closing out Sagittarius season, around thinking about all those traits of Capricorn, thinking about ambition, thinking about goals, thinking about taking practical, down to earth steps to achieve what it is that you set your mind to, and what you've put in motion. New moon having a lot to do with those things that we've set in motion, setting our intentions, right? Clearing the decks and really honing in on, defining what we want. Capricorn energy, very practical, grounded, earthy energy. What we want organizationally, how we need to go about getting it, and whether there is whether there's a plan, and perhaps a different plan of action that we can develop in order to achieve those goals. Because Capricorn is all about ambition. It is all about the realization. It is a cardinal sign, meaning it's not afraid to start something new, sort of a pioneering spirit. New moon, right? What are you ready to do new? What are you ready to take a chance on? If you've already got some things in the works, what needs to be done so you can button it up and really get the most out of it, right? Now, I also want to mention to you guys, in terms of the tarot, and interestingly enough, I'm just reading with oracles today, you all. I will list the decks in the comments section. I'll list the decks, and also, if you notice the cover page of this video, I have a picture of all the decks together. But I was led to just read with oracles today, and so I've got 6 different decks. I'm going to look at thinking about the devil in tarot, which is ruled by Capricorn. And it is one of those cards in tarot that tends to make us go, hold up, what is this all about? Because we think about, when we get the devil, we think about addictions, we think about bad habits, we think about things that are, that are chaining us. Very often in the tarot decks, various decks, you'll see some form of chains or binds or cords tying you to something. And the idea is, you're drawn to something that is not good for you, but you almost just can't help yourself. The devil has an ability to seduce. So the idea in this Capricorn energy can mean greed. It can mean, being so materialistic that you lose your real values. You lose your sense of self. You join yourself to someone perhaps who is not good for you, unhealthy, toxic sort of relationships. But there's this notion with the devil that you could do better. We think about fear. It often, plays up on our fears of how we appear. Are we good enough? Are we showing up in the world in ways that are expected of us, right? But what is fear if it is not false energy appearing real, right? So I want to take a look at that, you all, for us, and see, as we plan around this new moon, as we close out 2022, what ways, what lessons can we learn from the devil? What can we learn from this notion of, yes, we want to be ambitious. We want to achieve our goals. We want to stay inspired. If you don't have a goal, it's sometimes hard to, stay motivated. We're human. That's kind of what we're programmed to do. And especially in whatever area of life. Sometimes it's just personal goals and it's personal growth. Sometimes it is about material change and, our financial outlooks and what we're able to do and invest with our time, our money, our energy. So I want to take a look at that, you all. I want to take a look. I've got 3 piles that I'm doing here in front of me. I want to take a look at the ways that, closing out 2022, keeping in mind the ways that you have been using your energy, that Capricorn effect of acquiring what you need, setting goals, what you have been doing, what Spirit wants to bring to your attention that you should be looking at, all right? And always advice in our third column, all right? So what you have been doing, what you need to take a look at, some shifts that you may need to make, and advice on how to best achieve that. All right, finishing up here. I hope you all are doing well. I don't know about you, but I'm just like, wow, the end of 2022 is here. There's a part of me that, is always excited about a new year, what can possibly happen, talking about setting new intentions, dealing with the energy of the new moon. My sun sign is Capricorn, by the way, so I resonate with this energy. And I got to tell you, I struggled for a long time when I started reading tarot. I struggled with the notion that the devil was assigned to Capricorn until I recognized that in all things, especially if it is from high on, the source, it is never meant to scare, frighten, or punish us. There are lessons that we are meant to learn, and so that card brings lessons. It's meant to help us grow, help us see the truth, help us deal with the truth. It's one thing to see it, and it's another thing to be ready to address it. All right. So here we go. That was my last one. I got all the cards in front of me now. Let's dig in, see what's happening. All right, you all. So I told you I was using 6 decks. I've got 6 cards. I will show them to you. Let's see what Spirit revealed here in terms of how you have been using Capricornian energy, how you have been, going after your goals, the behaviors, who's around you, what you should be aware of, what has been happening around you. And we were just talking about lessons. I got to hold that up for you. One of the first cards that just stood out to me, okay? So, and there's that sense of direction, So for many of you, right off the bat, I can see before we even get into these other cards that what you have been doing up until now has had a lot to do with figuring out which way to go, and dealing with, maybe some course correction. If something wasn't working for you, you haven't been afraid this year in particular, leading up to December, you haven't been afraid to think about practical ways to go at it. Knowing where you are headed has been very important for you, very pivotal for you. It hasn't been, and when I say that, there's a part of that goes, duh, why wouldn't I be, right? But think about it. Very often, especially when we're going through tough times like we've all gone through in the past few years, it can be easy to just kind of go on autopilot and just, I'll deal with it tomorrow, I'll think about it tomorrow. But no, that's not what you've been doing. You've actually been actively seeking a direction. This says the chance for reflection and revision in a situation. Make changes towards your personal growth. Wow, I love it. I love it when Spirit cosigns. We were talking about this, and now here we're seeing it in the cards. Your personal growth and your path, an opportunity to gain a clearer idea of what is called for to be true to yourself and your needs. If that is not a pivotal energy around what we're looking at with Capricorn energy, and keeping in mind in tarot this notion of, what binds us? What is it that we feel tied to? What have we committed ourselves to that, for good, bad, or otherwise, is taking us in the direction we want to go? Let's go a little further. It says, speak your world into being. With destiny, I want to look at these together and interpret. Forbidden, very, very, very much a devil / desire sort of card. Self-reflection again. All right, I can see this message coming together. The end of a tough cycle approaches. That's that pathway that you've been going toward or seeking. All right, so I can see how these cards are connecting. It's one reason I love it, to challenge myself as a reader. When I pull from different sources, I've got to be able to thread it and let spirit come through and see, collectively what that message is, so I can interpret it for you. So I love that challenge, and I do see it here in the past, you all. This past year in particular, you have been, all roads are going to lead back to this card. This was the card that pulled me the strongest when I first looked down. Okay, so think about this as our catalyst. All roads have been leading to you finding your destiny, finding the way that you want it to go. And you've spent a lot of time this year in that mode of self-reflection. So maybe this year, talking about Capricorn energy, maybe this year hasn't been so much about doing and seeing results from what you've done, but it has had a lot to do with seeking out the direction you want to take, thinking about it, reflecting on it, speaking your world into being. You've done a lot of manifestation work, whether it's been vision boards, whether it's been journaling, whether it's just been in your own space, your thoughts, just what you've been telling yourself, becoming more aware of your speech, becoming more aware of the power of words to impact and affect what you get. Going back to that forbidden card, I think there's this notion of, there's been a reckoning for many of you this year around what you felt you were allowed to do, and opening yourself to the greater good of what could be allowed to come toward you. There could be, you may have felt a little restricted in the past year in terms of feeling powerless to impact what was coming toward you, what doors you needed to have opened up for you. I wouldn't be surprised if many of you, this impacted, because we're dealing with Capricorn energy here, if this impacted your income or something about your level of material comfort in the world. You could have been, in some iffy spaces around jobs, careers, in relationships. There could have been some temptation, I'll leave it at that, either with someone that you were connected with, or from you, the thoughts that you were having. I can understand that. But the end of this, finish this section with this card, the end of a tough cycle approaches. So that self-reflection that you've been led to do this year leading up to December and this last new moon of the year it has played its role, at least in helping you have a mental reset, having an energetic reset. You may not see it, the results from it yet, and you may not even be completely clear, but we're going to get to the advice on what that path is and your way forward. But I think Spirit is giving you credit in this first section of saying, at least you were cognizant of it. You were cognizant of taking stock of where you are, what may be good or not good for you, right? And also allowing, if you felt like something was forbidden subconsciously, dealing with the shadow perhaps, where, some of us, there's actually guilt around being happy, being wealthy, being good, especially when we're in a world where so much of what we're seeing and hearing and experiencing on a daily basis globally is harsh, it is tough, it is sad even. And so there's that part of us that sometimes we can push away blessings that are ready to come for us, and our ability to embrace it, because there is that sort of guilt trip that we put on ourselves and we feel like it's forbidden. So however that strikes you, but the bottom line is, in terms of what has been put in motion during this year in that Capricorn energy, is the thought process, the communication process. And I think it's been between you and Spirit, as well as what you have done in the world, in how you've shown up in the world this year to express your desires and do that self-reflection. All right, now, right now, in the here and now, how this is playing out for you and how you can move forward before we get to the advice. Let's see, let me lay everything out and then I'll show it to you. Okay, I got it. This is really, really cool, you all. You're going to see the progression between what we just discussed and now here. We have the Grand Cross, or it's called the Provoker. Now, this Provoker is coming with be bold and make the first move. So you have come out of that stage of reflection and thinking about the path forward, and now you are ready to make those moves. This is that Capricorn energy kicking in. I think many of you, this is indicating that many of you are taking this end of the year, going into a new year very, very seriously. You want protection with what you have, what you own, what you've acquired, the relationships that you have, your self-protection. This is where, here in the first part of the reading, you all, we were dealing with sort of our internal thought processes and the energetics behind it. Now we are dealing with the physical reality that we're living in. We're dealing with the body, how we move, what we are ready to do. Be bold and make the first move, okay? You're ready to do that, but you've had to go deeper. And check it out. This is that new moon in Scorpio. So there's a progression. We just finished that not long ago, right? We went through a new moon in Scorpio. And remember, it occurred when we were undergoing a lot of eclipses. There was a lot of tumultuous energy. And so that go deeper says you've done that, but in going deeper, it has provoked you. It has lit a fire within and around you, even perhaps, of now you're ready to take those steps. Be bold and make the first move and understand. I think for some of you as well, if you've undergone some situations where you felt vulnerable and you needed sort of that backup, that angelic backup, that ancestral backup, that notion that for anything that you cannot see necessarily, because this is a very cosmic sort of energy. Look at her lying down and this cosmic force literally carrying her, all right? As she's sort of folded up, there's this notion that you do not have to do it by yourself. Spirit wants to say that to you loud and clear at this time. It's okay for you to be bold and make the first move, you all. If you've got a dream, act on it. You may not have the total, all the widgets and digits in place, but it is time to put your plan into motion. It is time to change that habit. It is time to set that goal for yourself and just take incremental steps, baby steps even, to start reaching it. And then you'll see things happen. But there's this notion that you are protected. If there's something where you've been hesitant to make a move or hesitant to make a change, hesitant even to believe in your dream, believe that this project that you want to launch, or this, for some of you, this is something you want to write, or this is something you want to create. A lot of you have artistic talent, and this is something that you've been holding back a little bit because perhaps you've been too tied up in going deeper. You've been too tied up in responding to what's been happening around you, that it has sort of held you back from really going for it. There is also, there is that sense of protection again that comes up because I've got two more cards here I haven't shown you. One is, it's complicated. All right. I think that complication is you've been handling what's going on in your day-to-day life. You've been handling the mechanics of life, all right? What has to get done versus pursuing the dreams, the practicalities of, I've got bills to pay, I've got a family to take care of, or I've got, a job that I'm responsible for, all those different things that, in a very real way as human beings, they take our energy, they take our time, they take our resources. We dedicate ourselves to them. Going back to the devil energy, we are tied and bound to them, right? But there is also always, we are spirits having a human experience. And so in this section, you all, what Spirit is saying is recognizing that complicated means You are learning how to divide the time and create different boundaries between doing what you have to do in the mechanics of day-to-day life and still creating and carving out a time to pursue your dream, to go in a different direction, to know that there is something more. And what will get you there is, I saved the best for last in this section, you all, is self-love. And notice how that self-love comes with the tree. The strong, wound together. When we think about a tree and the roots of that tree, and the notion that this tree in particular, what a beautiful depiction here, talking about self-love. Because the tree means that those branches, what has formed you, what has made you, even all those that complicated, all the practicalities that have to be dealt with in life, while you are still summoning the energy to think about what's next, what's possible, to dream, in the midst of all of the minutia. There's what it is. You've been growing all along. Your roots have spread. And the idea that when we think about trees, we think about the strength, we think about the root systems again, but we also think about where the tree is going. And I'm sure when this tree started, the way that it grew to entwine itself, right, to become this form and this shape, isn't that what you're doing as a human, journeying in this lifetime? Isn't this what you're doing? Becoming this part of yourself that when you were a seed, when you were a child, when you were younger, even no matter how old you are, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you were still becoming. You couldn't see who you were going to be today, but that didn't stop you from growing in that direction. So this self-love, I'll read what it says for you here. Integration of different parts of oneself. Regard for one's own well-being and happiness, unconditional love, intimacy, and appreciation for oneself. Actions, Capricorn, ready to take action. Provoker, ready to take action. Be bold and make the first move, ready to take action. Actions supporting one's own physical, emotional, and spiritual growth. So that complicated part that we were talking about earlier, where many of you have been almost, it's like, how much of me is there to go around? All right, I got to do this, and this. I'm bound to this relationship, this marriage, this job, this family, this child, my friendship circle. I've built this life for myself that I am now tied to because it's a part of my identity. But the roads are leading you now. Taking action and being bold is saying, having done all of that now, what have I become? And what do I want to continue? What am I in the act of becoming? That's desire. Desire in the highest sense and best sense of the devil card in tarot and this Capricorn energy, because there is this ambition, this desire to attain and go beyond. How far can your branches spread? How far can they spread? How strong are you becoming by allowing yourself to embrace yourself and knowing that you are protected? You are protected. All right, I can't wait to get to advice, you all. Let's go. Advice for this new moon in Capricorn. Having what you want. Taking action and ready to do it because you've spent this year in a lot of self-reflection. Okay, let's go first here. Wow, this is so spiritual. What a beauty, the way that these cards have progressed, you all. You may want to watch this video a couple of times. I'm going to try and not make it too long here because there is a progression between what we saw, where you are right now, and now advice, meaning from spirit. So you're going to see the spiritual tone that this begins to take. First and foremost, we have a message. All right? So there is spirit saying, here's your message. This is our turn now. We've looked at what you've been doing. Now this is us speaking to you. Here's your message about to come. We are communicating with you. We are communicating with you. Wow. Different decks, you all. Look how Spirit speaks. We are communicating with you. You saw me shuffle and pull these cards. So this is not a fefe. This is definitely Spirit coming through. There's a message and they are communicating with you in this moment. They want you to push through any insecurity. So as you take that bold move, as you carve out the time from the complexities of your life, however busy it may be, or even if it feels stagnant, then now's the time to shake it up. Now's the time, in a very logical, organized, practical, but ambitious manner, to put things in motion. Because there's no need, if you have felt pushed through, think about that, pushed through, that is active. Not think yourself through, not journal yourself through, although journaling can be an active mode of pushing the subconscious and dealing with that in that fashion. But pushing through, literally making it happen, going beyond boundaries. Very often when we think about boundaries, it is in regards to creating boundaries for our safety, being more outspoken. If we are interacting with people who cross the line with us, who do not respect our emotional space, maybe even our physical space, there's that notion that we use boundaries. We need to put them into effect and put them in place to protect ourselves, to declare, look, this is my space. But I think this is also saying, go beyond your boundaries. If you have created a bubble, maybe for very valid reasons, created a bubble around yourself, now is the time to recognize you're good enough. You're good enough. Look how incredibly that goes with pushing through any insecurities. Different decks, you all. You're good enough. Spirit wants you to know that. So whatever your plans are, and then we have nurture. Nurture yourself. Let us nurture you is what they're saying. Oh, I got it. Let us nurture you. And recognize that these boundaries that have been created, that these boundaries are, you don't have to have boundaries with Spirit. You may need to have boundaries with humans, you may need to have boundaries in that day-to-day existence, but you don't need to have boundaries with your spirit guides. You do need to have spiritual boundaries. I'm not suggesting for any moment, because we know there are different energies out there. So I want to be clear. I'm not saying really, open yourself wide up to any and every energy that comes toward you, okay? Because you do have a right to protect your space spiritually and in the physical realm, all right? But these are your spirit guides. This is Spirit that is speaking right here, right now. And so they're saying, we're here to nurture you. You deserve to be nurtured. That is the overwhelming message that they're sending you at this time. That's what they're communicating to you right now. You are good enough. And we are going to help you push through any insecurity that you may have, so that what you want, going back to this new moon in Capricorn, what you want, what you desire, what you would need, the resources that you might need to put some of those, those desires to create and move toward those goals. Spirit is here to help you. They are here to embrace you, to nurture you. It says here, caring, compassion, empathy, and it is unconditional. Unconditional, going into this notion that you are good enough. You are good enough. Wow. That's it. I got nothing else to add to that other than a deep and profound sense of gratitude that to go out to leave 2022 behind, knowing that you have this tremendous support from your ancestors, from your spirit guides, from your higher self. Remember, we are spirits having a human experience. So your higher self, your higher consciousness, your light being is all around you. All around you. And so this works both ways. To the extent that you need protection, it is there. But to the extent that it is also time for you to go beyond what has been your boundaries, anything that may have been tying you, binding you in ways that are not meant for you. You're meant to go out and have what you desire. You are good enough to have what you desire, to show your talents, to show your skills, to show up in the world and live at your full potential. You're good enough for that. And they're going to help you push through any insecurity. Going into 2023, they're going to help you push through any insecurity because you're meant to show up. And that is the communication that they want to give you. All right, you guys. I said I was going to do about 30 minutes, and here I am. Let me know your thoughts. I hope that this was a blessing for you. And I wish you the absolute best. I hope that you manifest your dreams and that anything that is not for you and not good for you will be pushed by the wayside. All right, you've already been doing the work to make that happen. Take care. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.